I'm Haripriya, your host for today. And today we will be having a conversation related to content, the platforms, formats, and so much more. So, to know more about the content and the topic, today we have with us Nikhil, who's a content head at 27 Inc. We are happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us today,
Thank
Nikhil.
you so much for having me here.
So, Nikhil, do you feel that over the years, the kind of content that we consume has changed with the lack of patience and everything? There has also been a shift with the way the content is being written. So, is there a difference between the way we write technical content and the way we write generic content? Is there any difference?
That's a very good question. It's actually quite a common question. A lot of people who are new in the industry, who are new into content writing, everyone thinks that the process is just the same. You gather your information, compile it in a report or whatever kind of article it is, and you send it across. Of course, yes, it is the same in that sense that you have the information gathering, the compiling, and the editing.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of very variable factors which you have to keep in mind when you're drafting content. First of all, when it comes to technical content, it's mostly on behalf of an industry.
Okay.
Or it's for a very specific industry.
Okay.
Now, because that particular article will be spread across that industry, you have people who would use the industry terminology right there.
Yeah.
They would use the hard and fast terms. They would use the complicated terminology. People like us might not be able to catch on to a lot of those terminologies, but that content is not for us. It is for those who are actually invested in that industry. The ones who are actually curious about what is happening.
Well versed with the industry. They know what's happening in the industry.
Exactly. Those who are very well versed.
Absolutely, yeah.
The generic content that we develop, that is anything other than technical, whether it's a news story, whether it's a fashion article, whatever industry it may be, if you're making a very generic article about it, it is not just for the industry members. It is for your general public.
Everybody can relate to it. Everybody can understand it.
So you need to know who your target audience is. Abhi target audience ke basis pe, there's a lot of things that change. What is the age group of the people reading your article? What kind of information are they trying to get out of it? So that way you have to keep in mind what is the tonality you're using, what is the vocabulary you're using.
So we've covered a lot of content, and we've discussed what content really means and the type of content that there is and how it has changed over time. But when it really comes down to content, do you think that having some key factors or key points while pitching your idea, while writing your idea, is the ideation important while writing a content? Is how you present your content to the audience? Is that important? Is there something that we should keep in mind? Something.
So there are technically 3 parts to this question.
Yeah.
From what you've said. First, let's begin with the start, the ideation.
Okay.
Now, the ideation process is it's the first step. It is what makes you decide what is the story angle you're planning to pursue, what is the message you're trying to promote.
Okay.
Here you have 2 things to keep in mind. First off, what the audience wants to read, what the audience wants to consume. Secondly, you have to look at what your company, what your client, what you as a content writer wish to promote.
Okay.
Now, supposing you're working in the PR industry, you don't exactly write your own content. You have a client, you have a bunch of clients, they assign this topic to you, or they tell you that we are trying to get into this publication, or sometimes you get a media house which actually reaches out to you and says, if you have a client relating to this industry, we would like an article from them talking about a certain topic. So that way you have to keep in mind whether this is your client's domain. And if it's your client's domain, how would the client portray it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to keep in mind
what they're trying to say, and what is their tonality, and what do they want to convey to their audience as a brand or as a company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to keep in mind what's going on. You need to keep in mind about your company in general. You need to know what they do, what sector are they serving, what niche in that sector are they serving.
Yeah.
You need to have a very good knowledge of your company to know that this is the topic for them.
Okay.
And then at the same time, you have to also take a look at what's going on around the world. What is the trending topic in the industry? What is the trending topic in general? Because a lot of times the general topic might actually relate to what your client is trying to portray. What has your experience been like with the client?
So far, it's actually been a mix, I've enjoyed. There are days and months when I've loved what I'm doing. Loved it to the core. Like, I could just be like, this is what I'm working for. And then there would be just some people, some clients that would just get on the nerve and just, make me, why did I do it? Why? I had better options. I could have gone somewhere else. But at the end of the day, let's be honest, as a content writer, I love what I do. And I'm just here for it, be it the bad days or the good days.
Have you ever noticed the difference between how the client feedback would come? Sometimes you notice that, like in my case, I've noticed that the cases where I knew the client well, where I was very well versed with what they did, or if I was familiar with their industry for that matter, I was able to quickly deliver a lot of content for them. I was able to deliver quality stuff for them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are clients who do have the expectations that you know everything.
Yeah.
Even if we're all not masters at every industry out there.
True. Nobody is.
So that way, that is one difference I feel when it comes to handling each client for that matter.
I also think that it really depends on the way a client, speaks to us and makes us their requirements understood,
In this industry, there is a saying, client Bhagwan hota hai. Client is God. You cannot expect them to act a certain way for us.
True. I didn't say anything. True. Absolutely.
So it is fine. It is a very common struggle we have, but then that's the way of our work. We have to deliver what they ask us.
Yeah.
There was this one client, I was working with their social media as well as their content. There were many a time where I had to literally ask them, do let us know what is the feedback for this. Do we proceed with this? Do we stop right here? Do we change this?
I can relate this on so many levels.
There were moments where I ended up screaming at my team when we were not able to deliver it on time. Because
welcome to content.
Obviously, someone above me was getting yelled at for the delay. That would result in me getting yelled at. Then that would result in me yelling at my team for that matter.
Makes sense.
So a lot of the times, yes, there are clients who will step on your nerves. There are clients who will test the living hell out of you. They will ensure that you pull your hairs apart, you lose your hair. Iska natija dikh raha hai aapko idhar.
Yeah, we can see. Same here.
Exactly. So obviously patience is something we really need in our industry.
True.
No matter how understanding the client may be, no matter how persistent the client may be, we have to be patient.
True.
We have to. We can't afford losing our cool over them.
Yeah.
Because that
will ultimately affect the way we work and the way we write. For the recent trends and the recent changes in the way content is, do you think AI tools have the ability or the chances of affecting us as content writers? And will it reduce the opportunities and the work opportunities that we have over time?
To answer this, let's take a very recent example. A very trending case that's going on.
Okay.
If you're into Hollywood, you would know what is going on right now.
I mean, who isn't? Bollywood is not worth it anymore. You have to be into Hollywood. Yeah.
In Hollywood, yeah, exactly. So in Hollywood, there's a huge strike that's going on. The Writers Guild Association.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
So basically, the main reason behind the strike is there are writers like us who are begging, who are asking the big studios out there, please do not incorporate AI into your work.
Yeah.
Then they want them to sign a clause saying that we will not be using AI to handle our work. And the studios at the same time are not ready to sign it because AI se ho raha hai to aasan hona chahiye. That is the general consensus.
But do you think that AI can replace humans or us as content writers?
You're forgetting one very important aspect of this.
Which is?
Supposing an article comes out via ChatGPT, if people use AI to write their article, there is always someone behind the system that feeds it the prompt. What to enter.
Yeah.
So obviously there has been a human touch right there. But then at the same time, if you look at it, AI is a machine. It learns new data, it figures out new data, but then it does not have the ability to differentiate between what data to use and what data not to use. If you try writing an article via ChatGPT, you input it, you give it the input, you feed it the prompt that I need an article on this topic. So obviously, ChatGPT being ChatGPT or any AI platform for that matter, they have a very fixed formula in their software.
Okay.
They use that formula, they get some random information, they piece a few words together, and they create a very legible article. It is comprehensive. It has the flow. Everything is right there.
Okay.
But then, like I've told you before, your tonality is what sets your content apart. AI will write very technical content if not guided otherwise. It will make it very in-depth with research and a lot of technical terms right there.
The human touch will always be missing, let's be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. Human touch is going to be missing. You need someone to edit it and piece it together to make sure that it looks like it's an article which a human would read.
Yeah.
And for that, you need to know how to modify your content, how to customize it based on your own target preferences.
Definitely. Yeah.
You can't expect AI to just factor in the data of every individual's mental capabilities. Yeah. What kind of languages they use, what kind of language will be too complex for them.
Yeah.
AI will just get your input and then just spit out an article which is very
mechanical.
Mechanical, yes, that's the word. It will be very mechanical right there. And then even people who are reading the article will notice that no, this seems very formulated.
मतलब कौन ही पढ़ेगा यार, सारी technical terms हैं, human touch है ही नहीं. Who's gonna read it?
और ऊपर से आपका एक और रिस्क आ जाता है. अगर if your articles are completely dependent on AI, ultimately you fall at the risk of plagiarism right there.
Yes, such a true point. Yeah.
Because I've seen instances where people would use the AI to write an article, but then once you actually try to put it through a plagiarism checker, it's all information that is available on the internet and it's just copy pasted as it is.
Yeah.
And that is obviously it's a no-go in the media industry, in any form of communication.
Yeah.
Plagiarism is not appreciated.
Yeah.
Then it just shows that your communication is not genuine. It is just formulated, so to speak.
Yeah.
You need a human to actually sit and break down your entire article. AI can give you the pointers. It can tell you what to write.
वो सब बता देगा, but वो उसे connect नहीं कर पाएगा.
You won't be able to connect with your audience with AI. That is something which only you as a writer can do. You know your audience.
Yeah.
You know your client. You know what kind of language they wish to portray, and you know what kind of language your audience can understand.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ultimately, it's your job to communicate. Communication is a two-way street. You can't expect AI to just unilaterally send out an article or send out any form of communication and just not expect a reply right there. There will be feedback. There will be replies. There will be changes.
Yeah, true.
There is so many things that can be done. There are so many edits to be done. There's a lot of changes. And you can't depend on AI for that same.
When it comes to content, I feel there's a lot of back and forth. You know, because you write a content, you understand what the client wants, you write that. But then the client might not like a particular sentence. Then there is another edit, then another edit. But when it comes to AI is like fixed. कि आपने ये बोला लिखने के लिए, हमने ये लिख दिया. So this brings us to the final end of the session. It has been lovely chatting with you, having this candid conversation with you. It's been amazing. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for those amazing questions and the very interesting insights that you yourself have brought here. It is very
personal experiences do teach you a lot. Yeah.
Very true. That's what our field is all about.
Absolutely.
And this was a really fun conversation to have.
Same here.